Welcome to the Explainer. So glad you're here, because today we are going on an absolute mission. We're going to fundamentally upgrade how you interact with large language models. If you've just been using AI as, a glorified really fast search engine, well, it's time for a massive paradigm shift. By the end of this, we're going to transform how you use these tools, taking them from basic little chatbots and turning them into highly advanced reasoning accelerators. Let's dive right in. Imagine you just type, "Tell me about Kubernetes." I call this the lazy prompt. Sure, you'll get an answer, but it's going to be super generic. Now look at the flip side, an objective-driven prompt. We're giving it the exact audience, asking for comparisons, and even setting boundaries, like telling it when not to use it. The absolute bedrock rule of working with LLMs is this. Your output quality is directly tied to your prompt quality. It's literally just you get out exactly what you put in. And that leads us straight into our core paradigm shift. Listen to this idea. The goal is to improve your thinking, not replace it. We've got to stop sitting down at our keyboards and just begging the AI, hey, what's the answer? Instead, we need to start asking, help me evaluate the evidence, right? We're not outsourcing our brains here. We're augmenting them. So how do we actually define this new relationship? We need to treat the LLM as a reasoning accelerator. Think about the roles we want it to play: a research assistant, an editor, a debate partner. Notice what's missing from that list. It is not an unquestionable authority. It's definitely not a magic oracle. This is all about epistemic discipline. When you treat the AI like a debate partner, you expose your own blind spots. You synthesize complex stuff way faster. But crucially, and this is absolutely crucial, you leave the final judgment exactly where it belongs, with you. Okay, let's get into section 1, building better prompts, the baseline rules. Let's talk about injecting context, because let's be real, as smart as these models are, they can't read your mind. If you just say, write me an email, you are literally rolling the dice. But if you tell it the exact audience, say a CTO, set the tone to professional, define your actual goal of maintaining confidence, and cap it at 250 words, boom. You've just turned a generic, totally useless block of text into a highly targeted, ready-to-send draft. Another huge piece of the puzzle is stating your own background. Think about it. An explanation of complex encryption protocols should sound totally different if you're a complete beginner versus, say, a seasoned security architect. You've always got to tell the model who you are. A medical student needs a vastly different breakdown of a healthcare startup than a financial investor does. Always state your background to calibrate that output. Now, we see folks use role prompting all the time, but honestly, they usually do it wrong. Saying act as a senior cloud architect is okay, but it kind of just implies this blind, generic authority. Instead, try this. Review this plan using AWS well-architected principles and identify operational, security, and cost risks. See the difference? The role now implies a specific framework of expertise. You're forcing the AI to evaluate your request through a structured, rigorous lens, not just role-playing as a generic expert. Moving right along to section 2, supercharging critical thinking. Now that we've nailed down the baseline context, it's time to level up. We're moving way beyond asking for simple facts. One of the single most powerful things you can do is stop asking for answers and start asking for an analysis process. Literally, ask the model how to think. Instruct it to run your problem through specific frameworks, like first principles, a cost-benefit analysis, or even a long-term maintenance review. Or, better yet, ask it to look at a design from different perspectives. What would a CFO say about this? What would a site reliability engineer think? It's like a cheat code for exposing trade-offs you might have totally missed. Oh, I love this next trick. I call it the Socratic flip. If you just ask an AI, hey, is this a good idea? It's probably just going to agree with you. They're basically programmed to be people pleasers. Instead, force it to create some friction. Tell it, assume this idea fails. Explain why. Convince me not to do this. It is an incredible way to hunt down the absolute weakest assumptions in your own logic before you go out and make a real-world mistake. Listen, if you only take away one single prompt from this entire explainer, make it this one. It's the ultimate Socratic dialogue prompt. Ready? Don't answer immediately. Ask me questions until you're at least 90% confident you understand the problem. Wow, it is a profoundly powerful trick. When you're dealing with something super ambiguous or really complex, don't let the model just guess. Force it to interview you first to build up all that necessary context. And hey, remember, this is a conversation. It's not a single coin toss. You don't need a magical, perfect prompt right out of the gate. Just watch how a sequence naturally flows. You start broad, maybe just explain zero trust. Then you iterate. You ask it to go deeper, focus on identity, challenge the model's assumptions, and finally compare it with traditional security. Every single back and forth refines the result and really sharpens your own understanding. All right, let's shift gears into Section 3, Navigating the Pitfalls. Because even as a great critical thinking partner, look, no tool is perfect. You need a defensive playbook. When the model just makes stuff up, classic hallucination, your move is to verify those claims independently. When it gets overconfident and confidently hallucinates about something vague, explicitly ask for its confidence levels and its evidence. If it falls into confirmation bias and just blindly cheers you on, pull out that Socratic flip we talked about and demand opposing arguments. And if you're worried about omission, just ask it, hey, what important information am I missing here? Now, this brings us to a firm, non-negotiable warning. Please never, ever rely solely on an LLM for high-stakes information. I'm talking medical decisions, legal advice, financial planning, safety-critical engineering, stuff that has real-world consequences. Those absolutely require human expertise. Now, you can use the AI to explain complex concepts, summarize heavy regulations, or brainstorm questions. Use it to prep for a discussion with a qualified human professional, but do not let it be the final word. Let's bring it all together in Section 4, the Master Strategy. Let's wrap this up into a highly structured, reusable framework you can use on your very next prompt. Here are your 5 core principles. Number 1, be specific. Objectives and context will always give you better results. Number 2, treat all outputs as hypotheses, not hard facts. Verify them. 3, invite challenge. Force the model to critique your assumptions. 4, iterate. Have an actual conversation and refine it as you go. And 5, match the tool to the task. Use it to accelerate your understanding, for sure, but never to replace your own expert judgment. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. The next time you open up an LLM, I want you to ask yourself, are you outsourcing your judgment, just crossing your fingers for an easy answer? Or are you upgrading your reasoning, using the tool to challenge your blind spots and build genuinely stronger ideas? The choice is entirely up to you, and it all starts with how you write that very first prompt. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there and put this epistemic discipline into practice.